We've been raising chickens for more than 10 years, ducks, goats, all of that. So we've been like sold out at pretty much all of the Tractor Supply stores here. Half a bucket of manure and half a bucket of my organic potting soil. I'm just going a little bit deeper on each of these holes. So let's get planting and finish off this garden. I have here half a bucket of manure and half a bucket of my organic potting soil. Just gonna mix these two together, and once I cut the holes to plant in, I'm gonna mix these, put some in the holes for each of the tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, all of that, and then I'll plant in that. Because this native soil here is pretty compact, even though I had wood chips on here last year and part of the year prior, it's still pretty compact because this is on top of the hill and the water kind of drains that way. So I'm gonna add some amendments to this to make sure we're off to a good start. Okay, so these here are my peppers. They're pretty dried out. They've been waiting for me pretty much all day, so I gotta get these in the ground and watered. I'm going a little bit deeper in these holes because I want to backfill with some of my composted manure and that good organic soil. So I'm just going a little bit deeper on each of these holes. Just gonna backfill with the native soil. All right, so I'm gonna direct sow the rest of the seeds in my garden here. Everything else has been planted and they're all doing really well. I have cucumbers, watermelons, lots of tomatoes, pumpkins, a few eggplants. I am gonna plant a few more eggplants from seeds that I saved. So these are all my eggplant seeds that I saved. I'm also gonna start some broccoli seeds. These are gonna take some time. They're gonna grow throughout the summer. This is the purple peacock broccoli. April green cabbage. I'm gonna do some of these as well. And last but not least, I'm gonna do some beets. If you can say this name of the beet, whatever root that says, it's Chigo Gia Guardsmark beet. I hope I'm saying that right. So I'm gonna do some beets, some eggplant, cabbage, and broccoli. Probably not gonna do too many of each plant because I only have so much space, but I wanna get each of these planted today. So let's get planting and finish off this garden for the year. I'm gonna make a row of beets going all the way this way. Some people use a blowtorch for this part, but I don't have a blowtorch and it doesn't take me very long. I don't have a massive garden space, so it doesn't make sense for me to go out and buy a product just for this. But if you do have a huge garden, I suggest you get a blowtorch because putting the holes in the weed fabric is going to be so much easier for you. All right, let's plant these now. I'm just loosening up the soil here so I can sprinkle the seeds in. And I'm going to do 3 to 4 beet seeds per hole. Okay, so I just added some of my good organic potting soil, and this is mixed with just a tiny bit of goat and chicken manure that has been composting for over a year. So it's pretty much compost. I've had these seeds for quite a few years, so the germination rate's probably not great. So I'm gonna do about 3 to 5 seeds per hole. Okay, so that's it for beets. Okay, so beside the beet, I'm gonna do the cabbage. I am gonna leave enough room so that the cabbages actually get, you know, a pretty big size, because cabbages do grow quite large and they put out huge leaves. So I'm gonna leave some space and plant the cabbage, give them enough space to grow. I'm only gonna do maybe about 6 cabbages, just so I don't overcrowd anything. And you can see I'm making the holes quite large. I'm gonna leave it about 2 to 3 feet apart. I'm gonna put another one here. Don't want to overcrowd these at all. I'm doing about 4 to 5 seeds per hole. They're very tiny circular seeds. Okay, the last thing to do is to get the broccoli planted, and I'm gonna put them right in the very back here, and I'm gonna leave the front space so I have room to walk around in this garden space. Okay, so this is the purple peacock broccoli. You can see the seeds look very much like the cabbages. They are brassicas, so they look similar. So I'm just gonna remove like very top layer here. You can see all the wood chips I had in here over the past couple years. They didn't really do anything to help with the weed suppressing. That's why I decided to go with the ground cover here. Alright guys, I got the entire garden finished. It took me about 2 days to do the whole thing because I wanted to plan everything out and plant it where I wasn't going to regret it. I did put some of the watermelon in containers right beside the garden, right there if you can see those containers. And then I have my main vegetables like cucumbers, tomatoes, broccoli, all of that up here. The pumpkin, so I know I have pumpkin patch. I have the onions and the garlic down the hill, plus some onions in the containers. I have lots of vegetables growing all over. And basically that's to show you that you can plant anywhere. You don't have to have lots of space. You don't have to have, you know, 1 acre just for gardening. You can do them in containers, flower pots, or you can dig up the grass and create a garden, just like I did for the pumpkin patch. Especially if you have the woven weed fabric, you can pretty much create a garden anywhere. So I'm having a lot of fun doing it this year because it's my first full year at this new homestead. Now a lot of people think just because we're starting over here at the homestead that we're new to homesteading. We've been homesteading for 10 plus years. We're not new to this, but we are starting over because we just purchased our home in 2020. Prior to that, we were renting, so we were gardening and homesteading on someone else's property. Now that we have our own, everything here is new to this place, but not new to us. So although we look young, we're not as young as we look. We've been gardening and homesteading for over 10 years. We've been raising chickens for more than 10 years, ducks, goats, all of that. So we're pretty well versed when it comes to homesteading, but we are starting over new here. So it may seem like we're very fresh at this, but we're not. So I did go ahead yesterday and I put my dill in a pot here, and I'm just gonna keep it off the side of my main garden. I also separated my basil here and I put them in this pot, and they're just like taking off like wildfire right now. I'll just show you what the rest of the garden looks like so you get a quick look. I still have to purchase some more of the staples for the weave fabric. We've been like sold out at pretty much all of the Tractor Supply stores here. Maybe it's just going real quick, and because of the supply chain disturbances that's been happening the past few months, I guess that's one of the things that is just in short supply. So I am gonna go ahead and look 4 more of the staples for the wheat fabric. Right now I have some wood and some logs lining it, and I kind of like the rustic look of it, so I might keep it on the outskirts of the garden, but I still definitely need the little staples for the rest of the garden. Other than that, everything has been going really well around here. All of the goats are doing so good, but I wanted to talk to you guys briefly about Pepper and her baby, because I told you I was going to tell you about that. Pepper gave birth a few days ago. It was on June 3rd, and we went down there and we saw her with her little doeling. So cute. They're the tiniest goats I've ever seen, because we never owned pygmies until this year. Prior to this, we only dealt with boars, because we wanted the boar to have meat, but also to sell and make some money for the homestead. And boars fetch a pretty hefty price, so we were doing pretty good with the boars, but we switched over to pygmies just because they're a little bit smaller, a little easier to handle, and we just think they're a nice breed of goat for us, for our family. So we switched over to pygmies, and Pepper gave birth to her little doeling, and we were super excited. We went down there and we took care of her, made sure she was nursing, healthy, all of that. But we didn't notice that she actually had 2 babies. She must have had them in another corner of the barn area, because we didn't see the second baby until way later in the day. It was super sad. We didn't realize that she had the second baby, because if I did realize, I would have tried to do everything I can to help the baby, or try to make it survive, or try to revive it any way I could. But I didn't see this baby until way later. And it wasn't cleaned off or anything, so I'm pretty sure it was born still. So that's really sad. I'm pretty heartbroken that she wasn't able to fully keep both of her babies, and I was beating myself up about it for a few days, that how could I not have seen that she had another baby? I just didn't see it, and it was in the back of the barn behind one of the little shelters that we have for them. But her little girl is doing great, and I'm gonna leave it at that she at least has one healthy girl. So I'm disappointed about that, but it happens. When you're farming and homesteading and you're raising animals, they are living, breathing animals, and sometimes they die, sometimes they're born weak. And this little girl or guy, I'm not sure what it was, just didn't make it. So that was not good. But we do have one more doe that is due, Honey. And I'm hoping she'll have twins or triplets to make up for what Pepper lost. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like my videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. The best way to help me, though, is to just share it on social media, wherever you think this will be helpful. Thank you for joining me, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay peaceful. Bye.